Walgreens. Grand opening, grand closing. Please say it ain't so. How many stores? Let's say it is in the four digits as to how many stores Walgreens is closing down for their, quote, turnaround, close quote. We'll have that and more. You're watching BS3 presents the morning shift for Cole Johnson and Roku TV via BS3, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 morning shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. You are listening to it live on the Real Wise Radio Network, and it starts right now. All right, shifters, it is time to enjoy your midweek. Yes, it is Wednesday, October the 16th, 2024. Welcome to another edition of BS3 presents the morning shift for Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. And for the next 60 minutes, sit back, kick back, and relax as we get and keep you informed, engaged, entertained, enlightened, and spiritually fed. Now, along with Walgreens closing up many stores for their turnaround, their words, not mine, we're going to have a special report on Jerry Jones, and you'll hear me refer to him in his government name because it just feels so good to say it. And his government name is Gerald, but I don't say Gerald. I do it with an exaggerated, and I do mean exaggerated, Texas twang. That is the special report. We're going to be touching on that on his issue of him going off on a 105.3 interviewer. In the way we're going to touch on bullies, since, well, you have Mr. Jones wanting to throw his weight around, literally and figuratively, and how God looks upon them. All of that is for later, but for now, let's get this party started. Let's start you up. And here's what's taking place in the world today. The Biden administration has put Israel on notice. It could be losing access to U.S. weapons unless it allows more humanitarian aid to flow to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin both sent a letter to their counterparts in Israel on Sunday, warning that Israel must take steps within the next 30 days to do such a thing as allow food and other humanitarian assistance into Gaza, or they face restrictions on military aid from here. Both wrote, according to a copy of the letter posted by an Axios reporter on X, quote, "We are writing now to underscore the U.S. government's deep concern over the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Gaza and seek urgent and sustained actions by your government this month to reverse the trajectory." Close quote. Now, over the weekend, former President Donald Trump made a rare campaign stop, and this stop went in Colorado, and went in Colorado and California. And he states that he is likely to lose those states in the 2024 election. And in his speeches, he painted dire pictures of the places hosting him. He called Aurora in Colorado a, quote, war zone, close quote, raising alarms about Venezuelan gangs, which the mayor has said are, quote, grossly exaggerated, close quote. He called California a, quote, paradise lost, close quote, accusing Vice President Kamala Harris of making it the state with the, quote, most decay, close quote. Those comments came days after he insulted Detroit at a rally in Detroit. Trump may be diverting resources away from swing states, not to woo voters, but to send a message to his base elsewhere, according to a Northeastern University political science professor, Kostas Panagopoulos. With the possibility of Vice President Kamala Harris attending Howard's football homecoming game against Tennessee State Saturday, Tigers head coach Eddie George says his team is preparing for extra security measures. There has been no official confirmation that the Democratic presidential candidate, who is a Howard graduate, and running mate Governor Tim Walz will be at the game, which that kicks off at 3:30 p.m. all times Eastern on this show. But George said the TSU officials instructed him to be prepared either way. Howard's homecoming game in D.C. was listed as a tour schedule released by the Harris campaign last month. The former Titans running back and now head coach for TSU, or Tennessee State, said, quote, "I think it's already in play. I talked to some of our operation folks and logistics about how Saturday is going to go. We understand we have to get off and get the bus and get checked. There's going to be tight security and so forth. So we're ahead of schedule with that, whether she's there or not. We're understanding how things are going to go." Close quote. It was nearly 2 a.m. on Saturday. The Go-Go Band was about to start its next set when Tony Lee got the nod. It was time to go on. Lee worked his way through the crowd, waiting for the Rare Essence, a favorite local group, to pump the music again. The guitar player introduced their special guest, and then the pastor took the mic. And he said at the club, quote, "Look, I came out here to holler at y'all because y'all know there's an election coming up, and I just want to make sure y'all understand your voice matters, and your voice matters, and you are important. Your vote matters, and you are important." Close quote. He went on to say, "Anybody know that in the house?" And the club goers cheered. Well, it was so great that Rare Essence decided to actually have a pastor go up on stage and deliver that message at 2 in the morning. I'm sorry. T.I. will be capping off the year with his final bow. The Grammy Award-winning rapper revealed that he's retiring from live performances during an interview with Atlanta radio station 96.1 The Beat on Thursday. T.I. is slated to appear at the station's Jingle Ball concert on December 19th. Although T.I.'s announcement shocked the Beat host Sean Ferrari Simmons and BT, the MC explained, quote, "I don't want people to pay me to hop around and sweat for their entertainment anymore." Close quote. Now, about asking why he wants to basically bow out literally and figuratively, he said, quote, "I appreciate y'all for offering me my last working gig because I do not need the money anymore and I will not be performing. I don't want to do it anymore." Close quote. McDonald's Happy Meals will come with an extra bit of Halloween fun this year with the return of Boo Buckets. Why does it sound like a bad name for a female rapper? I'm sorry. For a limited time beginning October 15th, which it already started. Goodness gracious. A customer favorite, the Monster Boo Buckets come with Happy Meals and can be used for trick-or-treating. The pails come in a new color, blue, replacing last year's purple. Each bucket also comes with stickers so kids can customize the look. McDonald's first sold the decorated buckets back in 1986, and since then they have periodically returned over the years as a special holiday treat. Lord have mercy. You take that buff. No, never mind. Speaking of Halloween and what probably it will be stored in that bucket, Halloween candy doesn't provide much, if any, nutritional value, but these options rank above others, says Rose Britt, a registered dietitian with top nutrition coaching. The healthiest, and that is in quotes, Halloween candy is peanuts M&M. And Britt said, or other complex candy of sorts like that would be the best bet for your, quote, healthiest, close quote, option for candy. The multiple components like peanuts provide at least a bit more substance than just corn syrup. Now, if we're getting to the nitty gritty, a serving of peanuts M&Ms contains at least or a little less than 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of protein, and 9 grams of sugar. Some size serving of Reese's peanut butter cups contains around the same nutritional value, but just a touch more added sugar. And Snickers bars, well, they contain no fiber, 1 gram of protein, and 9 grams of added sugar. Britt went on to say, quote, it's not a whole balance, but it will give us a little more sense of fullness compared to our more traditional straight sugar type candies. Close quote. Now, peanuts M&Ms are made of mostly milk chocolate. Almond Joys, for comparison, also contains nuts and chocolate, but are mostly made up of corn syrup. Now, Britt recommends looking at the first ingredient, which is the most abundant, to compare said candies. The following sports update is brought to you by the Playmakers Blog Network. All right, let's head to the NCAA, shall we? And Hawaii will become the 8th full-time member of the Mountain West Conference starting July 1st of 2026. Hawaii was the only MWC, was only in the MWC as a football program since 2012. Now they'll participate in all other sports in the conference starting 2 years from now. This move will help the MWC, or the Mountain West, stay a conference because the 8-member requirement is mandated by the NCAA. Staying with NCAA, but going to women's basketball, the defending champs South Carolina Gamecocks, they are atop the preseason poll with 27 out of the 30 votes. The Huskies, led by Paige Buckers, they come in at number 2, and Juju Watkins, leading the Trojans, they come in at number 3. The post-Caitlin Clark era Iowa Hawkeyes, they will begin just outside the AP Top 25. To the gridiron, let's go professional rank, shall we? The NFL owners approved to have the Super Bowl return to Atlanta in 2028, 9 years after the Patriots defeated the Rams in 2019's Super Bowl that was there, 13-3. And also, the NFL owners approved Tom Brady as a minority owner of the Raiders. The former quarterback, soon-to-be Hall of Famer, now turned Fox broadcaster, Brady, he has been approved unanimously by the owners. That's impressive. All 32 said, go ahead. I'd say that's impressive. And the NFL owners unanimously voted in approval for the Jacksonville's Everbank Stadium, or Gator Bowl, or whatever have you, to be renovated. The $1.4 billion renovation will begin as early as next year. The Jaguars will play in a reduced capacity in 2025 and 26 before playing elsewhere in 2027. And let's go to trades, shall we? Former Texans running back Cam Akers and former Vikings running back Cam Akers, he now will be a current running back for the Minnesota Vikings. That's right. Cam Akers, formerly of the Rams as well, he'll return to the Vikings as the Texans traded the running back for a 2026 conditional 7th-round pick. The Vikings also get a 6th-rounder as well. And then the two trades that pretty much stirred the drink yesterday. The New York Jets acquired wide receiver Devontae Adams for the Las Vegas Raiders for a 3rd-round draft pick that could be upgraded to a 2nd-rounder if Adams is a 1st or 2nd-team All-Pro. But the Bills said, hold my beer, and just hours after the Jets beating them on Monday Night Football and the Jets acquiring Adams, the Bills traded for former Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper. The Bills get Cooper and a 6th-round draft pick, and the Browns get a 3rd and 7th-rounder. You got to be more careful. On the diamond, we have Game 2 of the ALCS that took place last night. The Yankees, they jumped out to a humongous lead early in the game, and they held on and doubled up the Guardians 6-3. They lead the series 2-0. Game 4 will now go to Cleveland on Thursday. And tonight, we have Game 3 from Citi Field. The Dodgers and the host Mets, the series is tied at 1, First pitch is at 8:08 p.m. You can see that on Fox Sports 1. Oh, and not to be outdone, Game 3 of the WNBA Finals between the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx, it will be in the Twin Cities. Tip-off will be at 8 p.m. The game will be televised on ESPN. It's a best of 5, so of course this is a crucial Game 3. The series right now is tied at 1 game apiece. Turning our attention to weather across the country as powered by the Weather Channel. We're looking at things in the Pacific Northwest. It looks like it's a little bit on the wet side. It'll be a high of 58 degrees in Seattle. In the Midwest, it will be bone dry and quite sunny. Sunny with a high of 62 in Minneapolis. Sunny with a high of 57 in Chicago. Sunny with a high of 62 in St. Louis. Mostly sunny with a high of 54 in Detroit. Over the East Coast will be partly cloudy skies and 55 degrees in Boston. Partly cloudy and 60 in New York. Mostly cloudy and 58 in Washington, D.C. Down south, there will be rain and 84 in Miami. Sun, all sorts of sun, and 61 in Atlanta. Sunny and 62 in Memphis. Sunny and 72 in New Orleans. Down in the southwest, it will be partly cloudy skies and 78 degrees in San Antonio. Sunny and 70 in Dallas. Mostly sunny and 75 in Houston. Over in the Rockies, it will be rainy and 80 in Denver. Down in the desert, which will be the hot spot of the day, it will be mostly sunny with a high of 97 in Phoenix, mostly sunny with a high of 92 in Las Vegas, and on the West Coast, it will be partly cloudy skies with a high of 72 in Hollywood. It will be rainy and a high of 68 degrees in the Yay area. And that should look on weather for today, and you now have been properly started up. Coming up next, Jerry Jones, or the man that I call Jerome, throws his weight around on 105.3 The Fan. Why? We'll touch on that later. And bullies. What does God say about bullies? That is Enlighten the Way. But coming up next, Walgreens is shutting down a lot of its doors. Oh boy. And it's due for a turnaround. You're watching BS3 presents the morning shift for Cole Johnson of Roku TV via BS3, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. You're listening to it right now live on the Real Wise Radio Network, and we will return right after this.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast, every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets. The moderator.
As woman, you can't be too friendly because the minute you're friendly, then they think you're flirting.
The level head.
I think so that thing is over. So I'm not looking at men like that anymore.
The truth slayer.
Okay, what in the HPV yeast infection is going on over here?
The X Factor.
So I'd I'd rather you tell me everything up front and let's start fresh.
The intersection of life and spirituality never sounded this good. BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Now, if you're looking for an ear to the street lens of any topic, whether it's on social media or with the three that you'll see on right down on your screen, this is the group to have that conversation with. Oh, and there is music that they also use as a backdrop. Throw my girl Adrian Shawan, my boy Scotty Knox, and my boy Eric Butler Sr. as they ask the question, is it Wednesday yet? And they do it live every Wednesday, tonight included, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, the BS3 Network Facebook page. That is It Wednesday Yet? Live tonight and every Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, Roku TV, just the BS3 local and Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, the BS3 Network Facebook page, and the BS3 Network YouTube channel. Back at it at BS3 presents the morning shift for Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. Again, you're seeing it live on the BS3 Network and the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. You are listening to it live on the Real Wise Radio Network. And if you feel the need to say something, well, if you're watching a replay, comment below what you think of the content, please. But if you're watching live, all you got to do is go to the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. That is the BS3 Morning Shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel, where this plays live every weekday. The lifeblood of the show is you. And you don't believe me? Let's head to Shift Nation as we speak. One of the most prized shifters in the land, Wise Alefe, the CEO of Real Wise Radio, the man in charge of Real Wise TV's YouTube channel, and Stuck in My Mind podcast, and my mentality brother. He says, good morning, shifters. He also says, good morning, my brother. Well, good morning to you, my brother. Hope everything is good with you. And, well, I'll take the time out to say now, I know that things are changing for you, and I hope that all the changes are for your benefit, and you're just scratching the surface of the greatness that you're going to have, my man. Believe that. He says, I will be getting my bucket, talking about the boo buckets from McDonald's. Later today, more than likely, he's going to be getting it for his grandson. But and I feel for you, my brother. I feel for you. I hope you can enjoy the time that you spend with your little man. Well, speaking of enjoying time, unfortunately, I think some people won't be enjoying their time. Unfortunately, because those who work at Walgreens, well, there'll be less of you working across the nation at the chain. Because in today's program, Spotlight, no, I changed my mind. In today's cover story, we're going to touch on why it is a problem that a whole lot of stores are saying we're closing them, and why. Why Walgreens gives their reason as to why. Walgreens, they're approximately closing 1,200 stores, 1,200 stores across the country, across the U.S., as the pharmacy chain struggles with slumping consumer spending. The closures will occur within the next 3 years, starting with 500 stores being shuttered in the fiscal year 2025, which we currently are in now. Actually, the beginning of it started earlier this month. Walgreens announced this on Tuesday in an earnings report. The company has confirmed plans in June to USA Today to close unprofitable stores, but had not disclosed how many of them would be affected. Well, the move is part of a multi-year cost-cutting program of the CEO Tim Wentworth, who took on the job last year. Now, Wentworth in a statement reiterated that the company's commitment to focusing on improving its core business, and that is the focus, retail pharmacy. The CEO said, quote, "This turnaround will take time, but we are confident it will yield significant financial and consumer benefits over the long term," close quote. Now, while it's not immediately clear which 1,200 stores that Walgreens will be shutting its doors on, the move will impact at least 13% of the more than 8,700 stores that were open in the United States as of August 31st. The announcement comes amid an improving, but unfortunately still challenging fiscal year of 2024. While Walgreens exceeded its target of slashing $1 billion in costs in the last fiscal year, the chain reported a $3 billion loss last quarter, mostly due to goodwill impairment charges related to a home care provider called CareCentrix. Still, the chain's revenue in the last fiscal year rose more than 6% from a year ago, according to the company's earnings report. Fourth quarter sales of the retail pharmacy sector reached $29.5 billion. That's an annual increase. That's a quarterly increase from 6.5% from the same quarter last year. News of the impending closures come as Walgreens and other drugstore chains struggle to keep up with competition from Amazon. That, as well as declining drug reimbursement rates from middlemen for filing prescriptions. CVS laid off thousands of corporate and other employees since 2023, while dealing with a, quote, continued disruption, regulatory pressures, and evolving customer needs, close quote. And that was provided by a spokesperson telling USA Today. Now, since declaring bankruptcy about a year ago, Rite Aid has closed hundreds of stores across the country after struggling for years to keep up with its larger competitors. But drugstores aren't the only businesses facing declining sales amid rising prices and a downturn in consumer spending. This week alone, hardware wholesaler True Value became the latest chain to file for bankruptcy since the COVID-19 pandemic, joining LL Flooring, Red Lobster, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Big Lots, which has been shuttered hundreds of stores since it announced its bankruptcy proceedings back in July. A host of other businesses, I should say, including Hooters, Walgreens, Sears, Kmart, JCPenney, and even Disney stores, are among those that have closed its stores across the nation since 2020. Man, those people who work at Walgreens and the managers who are there and the franchisees who own the stores, many prayers go out to you all. It is a shame when you have these things happen in an uneven, very volatile job market, and hopefully you can find gainful employment very soon. But know that this is not your fault. This is the fault for how people manage things high up. You will find your footing, you'll find your place, and eventually it will come to pass that you will have the job that you so wantonly seek, and you'll have it. Unfortunately, though, you have to go through this, and I hate the fact you all do, but hopefully, again, you'll find employment very soon. And that is today's cover story. And again, many prayers out to those who are of the Walgreens family. Hope that the time very, very soon is proper for you. Now, join my four girls, Grace, Tanya, Kim, and Felicia, as they have life and spirituality intersect in such a very powerful way. BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens, and you can catch this program tonight 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, to Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. That is Life Happens live tonight and every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, to Roku TV. Just hit the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, the BS3 Network Facebook page, and the BS3 Network YouTube channel. That is Life Happens. You can catch that tonight. Coming up next, Raw. What is you doing? Come on now. You're supposed to celebrate your birthday like this. You're watching BS3 Presents the Morning Shift with Coach Johnson on Roku TV via BS3, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 Morning Shift Coach Johnson YouTube channel. You're listening to it live right now on the Real Wise Radio Network. And we'll be back. We'll return right after this. But prayers out to all of your Walgreens. I hope things go well for you guys. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, WIZE.
Are you in a life holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. Live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. Whether it's the men's college game,
the way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
The women's college game,
and how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
The WNBA,
AJ Wilson on Twitter 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young,
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Adrian Shawan.
There was a man talking about where the homebodies at? Where the women at? And the women was stitching it. It was like, we at home.
Scotty Knox.
Another pet peeve of mine, right? First date, if you show up with the ponytail that come out at the top of your head, it will not be a second date.
Butler.
I want people to think independently and freely. She's not. $100 for lunch. I almost got up and walked off.
A show that asks only one question. Is it Wednesday yet? Live every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central.
See everybody talking like they doing what we doing, but these brothers is rare and they ain't moving like we moving. And everywhere we go.
Do you like an inside the actor studio type of interview? Well, if that's the case, I have the program for you. Join my brother Wizelefe and an interviewee or a guest of his choosing as she could pull a nugget out of life in whatever interview that's basically set in a conversational format can provide. Stuck in My Mind podcast, it comes to you live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3 and the Stuck in My Mind podcast YouTube channel. That is Stuck in My Mind podcast live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Roku TV. Just at the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, and the Stuck in My Mind podcast YouTube channel. Well, back at it here at BS3 Persistent Morning Shift for Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. It is great that you're here, Shifter. I hope things are well in your morning, and I hope you'll have a nugget that you can pull from here to have your afternoon and evening go just as well or even better. But for someone who needs to have a shift in mindset, it would have to be one Mr. Jerry Jones or Jerome. He had a brouhaha with 105.3 The Fan on his customary appearance for the week. And I might as well get to it right now. All right, so for those who were under a rock, Sunday afternoon, we got a chance to witness an absolute thumping. The Detroit Lions, they came to Arlington to play the Dallas Cowboys. They gave them a 47-9 butt whooping. And it was the worst, well, I'll say it was the fourth worst home beating that the Cowboys have taken in the franchise's history. It is the worst margin of defeat that the Cowboys has suffered in the 35 years Jerry Jones has owned them. Now, that'll be the last time you will hear me refer to him as that, because every time I think of him, I think of his name, which is spelled Jerral, and I'm sure it's probably pronounced Gerald. But since I come from Texas and I know many people from there, they probably will look at that name and pronounce it Gerald. And so when you hear Jerry Jones being referenced, Gerald is what I'm going to reference him by. So Gerald took to the media, and he said that he was, quote, shocked, close quote, that the team received a 38-point beatdown. I can't understand how you would be shocked, considering that you barely have a running game. You have a passing attack, which when it's a one-dimensional type of team, it can be easily foiled. And your defense, even with Michael Parsons in, and I know he was injured, you have a very tough time. It's impossible for your team to stop the run. So when you have all of these factors that go against you, how could you, sir, be shocked? But I guess he was, because on Tuesday, he went to his customary weekly appearance in Dallas on 105.3 The Fan. And normally, even when Cowboys have defeats, Gerald normally is a glass half full type of guy. Well, this Tuesday, the glass was very half empty. Now, normally there is some verbal jousting with the hosts of the show and with Gerald, but this time it wasn't. Because Gerald went after the hosts real hard on Tuesday. So when the hosts, they decided to talk about the off-season approach, and the off-season approach you're talking about is they had Derrick Henry, the running back formerly of the Titans, now he's with the Ravens, available in the offseason, and Henry actually lives in Dallas, and he works out there. The rationale for Gerald that he gave was, quote, we don't have the money to afford him at this time, close quote. So, when he felt that pushback on Tuesday, Jones bucked up. Oh, he bucked up hard, and he pushed back. Oh, did Gerald ever push back? He said, quote, this is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons I did something, and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job. I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. Close quote. He goes on, quote, you're not going to figure out what this team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or if any 5 or 10 like you are, you need to come to this NFL meeting I'm going to do today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses. Y'all really think y'all going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all the things that I've done wrong and without going over the rights? Close quote. Okay, well, allow this man with this microphone to actually tell you what you've done wrong with your rights. Here is the only right I actually have to say about you, not because I can't find others, but because this basically is a mic drop right. You, sir, as an owner, are probably the most lucrative one in the history of professional sports. I will even challenge other sports. And I'm not talking about in the United States or even in North America. I'm talking about in the world. I'm talking about even Manchester United. Or the New York Yankees. Or the Los Angeles Lakers. I will compare you to them, who to me are the 3 biggest franchises other than the Dallas Cowboys, monetarily wise speaking. I will even raise them up and say that you're a better owner than all 3 of them. I'll even say you're better than all 3 of them combined. Because if there's one thing that you know how to do, Gerald, is you know how to make money. There's no issue, no quarrels, no problems about you doing that. You are the man when it comes to making money. You are the man when it comes to business. You know how to be profitable, and you know how to market. I mean, the Cowboys are probably the best marketed team even now in the history of the business. I'll say that to you. And that's the only right, or right, as you said, that I even have to mention. Because when you have made your franchise rich or wealthier, you've made the league wealthier. So that's the biggest right, and that's the only right I even need to even bring up. But let's go over the wrongs. The offseason, your big-time move was Ezekiel Elliott. You waited and waited and waited to re-sign Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb until the season began. And you claimed that you were on the cusp of a Super Bowl trip after your third 12-5 season went in disappointing shame in being whooped 48-32 in January at home to the Packers. And the last 16 points your team scored were mercy points that the Packers allowed because the game was 48-16 with 7:30 left in the game. But you said in the offseason, even after that game, everything was fine. Even after losing Dan Quinn to be the defensive coordinator, who, well, you probably didn't mind losing him after your offense gave up 41 points in that game to now be the head coach of the Commanders. You have the audacity to say, well, we're fine. We'll load up. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. Come on, Gerald. Your team has been entertaining, but it has not sniffed anything close to NFC championship contender because you haven't seen that in 29 years. And dare say, I can actually say you definitely won't see it this coming January, so I can almost say now, you will probably not see the NFC Championship game for the Cowboys in 30. The next time, the most possible time that your team may make the journey there will be January 2026. Exactly 30 years since the last time you've done it. But no, I won't stop there. You didn't get Derrick Henry, who you need to have. You're fine with the team being ho-humming up and down. And now we get a chance to see the full glimpse of Gerald. You being a bully. You throwing your weight around. You basically threatening a person's livelihood on air. You're threatening the livelihood of a person on air, showing that you have the might and the muscle. And yes, there is no more powerful man in the NFL than you, sir. Maybe Krause of the Patriots, and I say maybe him. But I would even challenge that. You're the most powerful man in NFL, and for you to say this on air, the fact you say it, period, is bad enough. Privately, if you say it, it's bad. You say this publicly on air to this wonderful man who is doing his job. No. Let's show this bully. This man is doing his job. But you threaten his livelihood because he has the nerve, the audacity, and the stones to actually challenge you on your flawed thinking as a general manager. You are as poor. No, you are as piss poor of a general manager as you are good as an owner. Because I can't talk anything ill about you as an owner. Because if I did, I'd be lying. But I can barely talk good about you as a GM because you keep just putting forth crap for a team and you think it's good. I mean, quite frankly, you think the crap that you put on there is Shinola. And then you paint this wonderful picture to Cowboys fan saying that this team is Super Bowl bound. And now you've had the last 3 years, 12-5 seasons, and you think, well, see, I told you. We had the team. All you had to do was have the rye break here, the rye break there, and we would have been in the Super Bowl. No. Your team hasn't been a threat to go there since 1996. That's the last time your team has ever been a threat of being an NFC contender. Forget Super Bowl contender. An NFC championship game contender. 1996. You didn't reach it there, but you were close enough to do it, and you had the makeup with it there because you had Troy Aikman, who was on his downturn. You had Emmitt Smith on his downturn. You had Michael Irvin on his downturn. You had, if I'm not mistaken, you also had Deion Sanders on his downturn. So you had the pieces there. They were just past their prime. Most of the big pieces you had. That was the last time you can actually say the team was a threat. And yeah, I can reach it in other years, 2009 to be exact. But the best teams in the NFC were the Saints and the Vikings. Let me see, 2011, when you had the best record. Nope. No, because the Giants were just tougher than you were. Let me see. Let's see if I could think of another one. 2016. Nope. Because Aaron Rodgers was a more skilled quarterback at the time than Dak Prescott. I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, but I will tell you that was the reason why you got beat. The greatest threat you've ever had to be an NFC championship contender was 1996. But you say with all gusto that this is your team, that you want the Super Bowl. You want to be there. You want to take the team there. You hunger for it. You taste for it. You say that you don't have much time on this earth to witness it. But the moves that you're making will have you further away from it. And I don't want to say this to you, sir, but I think someone needs to say it to you. You are further away from being in the Super Bowl as a member of the Dallas Cowboys than you ever were before you made that run with the triplets. You had a better shot of making it in 1989, and I'm talking about the team that went 1-15 than the team you have now, because at least that 1-15 team in 1989 showed something that I did not see Sunday. Fight. You don't have the horses, Jarrell. And quite frankly, Jarrell, you are the worst thing for this team. Not as an owner. The general manager, you, is the worst thing for this team. Because if you keep making moves or not making moves, that's going to improve the team like keeping Mike McCarthy on as the head coach when you know he is not going to bring you further than 12-5 seasons and disappointing playoff game efforts, then you're going to be massively disappointed, sir. And you can threaten my job, and you can say you can have other people ask questions or challenge you for this. I own this platform, so you're not going to fire me here. I'm the boss, so you can't fire me. And unfortunately, as a journalist, I'm telling you the truth, sir. And I'll say it again. You are as stellar of an owner as you are putrid as a general manager. And the two just don't mix. And because the general manager you is detrimental to the health of the team, you're just gonna suffer. You're gonna languish in mediocrity at best, and at worst, you're gonna fan flames with fans saying this garbage when we know in January they're gonna be knocked out the playoffs every single year.
This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation.
Now come fire me and find someone else to ask the questions that you want someone else besides me to ask, because I guarantee you, Gerald, I can't be fired from this. You owe your team better, but you don't have the stones to make the right move. And the right move is for you to leave, not as the owner, as general manager. Let your son, Steven, take over. You don't need to be general manager anymore. Because I hate to say it, in terms of logistics, not business, not finances, but the logistics of the sport, you may know the players and you may know how things go, but in terms of, and you may know how to evaluate talent. But in terms of putting the right product on the field to actually be championship material, the game in that regard has passed you by. Own it, owner. When we come back, what does God want to do with bullies? You're watching BS3 presents the morning shift with Cole Johnson of Roku TV via BS3, BS3TVLive.com, and the BS3 morning shift Cole Johnson YouTube channel. You are listening to it live on Real Wise Radio Network, and we will return right after this. Oh, and do me a favor. Watch my homeboys, Vinny Hardy and Terry Brown, as they talk about all things University of Kentucky, and they'll probably talk about some Cowboys stuff because one of the two is a huge Cowboys fan, and all things sports, professional and collegiate. Cats Talk Wednesday, live today, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central, Roku TV via BS3, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, the Vinny Hardy YouTube channel, and the Cats Talk WED or WED Facebook page. That's Cats Talk Wednesday, live Wednesday. Every Wednesday, including today, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central, Roku TV. Just the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app. BS3 TVLive.com, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, the BS3 Network Facebook page, and the Cats Talk WED Facebook page, and the Vinny Hardy YouTube channel. Again, we'll be right back right after this.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Kentucky, home of great natural scenery and Churchill Downs. The Bluegrass State has offered 3 jewels. The University of Kentucky.
And the Kentucky coronation is complete.
Terry Brown.
Some people from Louisville, from Kentucky, I don't like the Derby. Okay, cool. Like, all right, I'm going to keep it moving.
And Vinny Hardy.
Us growing up on the border, we all went to school with Tennessee fans. We all had some teachers that was Tennessee fans.
BS3 Network proudly presents 2 men with Kentucky on their minds and all of the sports matters at hand. Cats Talk Wednesday. Live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready.
The Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Well, welcome back to PS3 Persistent on the shift for Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. Let us get this party started. Bullies. What does God think of bullies? That's a really good question. I think we're going to answer it right now in Lighting the Way. Father God, in the name of Jesus, thank you so much for being in the midst. Your word says when 2 or 3 are gathered together in the midst, you will be in the midst and the mix of the shifters and me. I thank you for being the compassionate God that you are. I thank you for not liking bullies. I thank you for putting bullies in their place. And I thank you for giving us the strength to put bullies in their place. For your word says that with man, everything is impossible, but with you, all things are. Well, that is the energy that we're going to have right now. May I be divorced from this message with my ego, my thoughts, and my emotions. May those be divorced from the message that you passed down to me. May I be a lighthouse of your word, not an interpreter of it. And may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be always acceptable in your sight, Lord. You are my rock, my strength, and my redeemer. In Jesus' name, amen. You heard me correctly. God doesn't like bullies. And God has equipped us with basically getting rid of or handicapping or putting an end to bullies. But you probably ask the question, well, how, Cole? How does he do it? And so I could give you that answer, but I was like, no, I'm going to let Jesus give me that answer because it's better it comes from him than from me. And as you can see, I'm trying to practice trust the Lord with all my might and not lean on my own understanding with that type of question. So I said to Jesus, all right, so what would you like for me to say? And then he turned me to the book of Proverbs. It's like, I should have known. Anything that has to do with valor or strength or compunction or defense, I figured it would come in the form of a challenge in the book of Proverbs. And so it did. 11th chapter, 12th verse, and this is what Solomon wrote. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. Once again, from Proverbs chapter 11, verse 12. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. So you're probably asking yourself the question, okay, what does a person want when they abuse their authority? Since those who do abuse their authority, they don't want to remain silent. You know, they want to be out front and belittle their neighbor. They want you to be intimidated by them. They want you to cower to them. They want you to give in to the fear of their stature and of their anger. But you got to understand that energy that they're passing down to you, that's not something God gave you. You have to understand something. God didn't give us the spirit of fear. He gave us the spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind, or of disciplined mind, if you want to know what sound mind means, or discipline. So when you see someone who wants to make you cower, who wants to crush you, who wants to make you feel smaller than the dirt, smaller than under the earth, that means that they are operating in a power that is not of God. Be at one with that. Please be at one with that. So you probably ask me too, Cole, why would someone want to bully someone else? Well, in this world, which is unfortunate, many of us believe, and I do mean world, not in the spiritual realm or the Christian one. In the world, we really believe in the worldly proverb of he who holds all the gold makes all the rules. So if you hold the gold, we believe that person, man or woman, can make the rules. And sometimes when they make those rules, they'll make those rules because they have the power to back it, because they got the gold to flaunt. Well, I got all that money. You with your little pittance, you can't do jack to me. So back up, back off, and bow down to me. There is this sick, twisted, evil thrill that these people get when they back you down to have your knees hit the ground, and it's not to Jesus or to God or to the Holy Spirit. It's to them, because they believe they are God, and I mean the small letter G-O-D. That is why someone would want to bully someone else. They want you to believe that they are your God, and they fully are at home with that. And when someone is that way, you can't give them the time of day. So how should someone behave when troubled with a conversation of that nature? Well, no matter how much gold that person may possess, or how much money or how much influence that person may have, again, with God or with Jesus or with Christ, all things are possible. So you can have someone who earns twice, who earns 20, who earns 200, who earns 2,000, who earns even 20,000 times more than you. If they don't recognize you for the human being that you are, that you have to force them to recognize you for the human being that you are. Because with Christ, all things are possible. So when someone comes at you like that, well then either you stand up to them with your own with the might of God, and you stand up to them, or you find the means and the wherewithal to find the power to back your play, to have that bully cower. Because I guarantee you, all you got to do is figuratively punch that bully in the mouth. It's like what Mike Tyson said, and it's true today. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's not just a physical thing. That's also a mental, an emotional, and a psychological thing too. Because punches don't have to just come physically. And you can have someone who has gold, but if you find another way to show that you have might, like intelligence, you can have a way with words that they don't. That's another way that you can literally punch them in the mouth without physically doing it, obviously. So what do bullies need to learn in order to no longer adversely be aggressive? Well, they need to learn that they can influence people more by love than with hate. It's like what Paul wrote in Romans. We don't overcome hate with hate. No, we overcome hate with love. Love conquers all, and you have to impart upon that bully that the love of people will influence them to do something different, or influence that change that they desire, or will be the change that they would like to get the results that they seek. You care about that person. You show that you care about that person. They're more willing to do things for you than if you say, do this or else, and you walk away. In essence, God doesn't like a bully. And the reason being is because God tunes out bullies because he knows bullies tune him out. And so if you are a bully, don't tune out God. Have him come into your heart and have him show you a new way to influence, to change, and to impact. Because you don't have to threaten people to get them to do what you want. Have them be filled with love, and that is how you affect the change. Well, that is all the time I have. Thank you so much, Shifter, for joining me. I'm so glad that I get a chance to do this platform every single weekday. For all of us here at the BSV Network, for Coleman Media Incorporated, and for the Morning Shift, I'm Cole Johnson, here to say in parting, as I always do, if you lack commitment, you will never start. If you lack consistency, you will never finish. And if you lack love, I guarantee you, Shifter, you most certainly will never conquer. Now, go out into the world and preach the gospel to the ends of the earth, because you, sir, you, madam, you, my wonderful children, Shifter, you're a blessing. And how do I know that? Because you've been a blessing to me, and you are one right now. I hope I in turn have been a blessing to you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Now go out there and enjoy the rest of your morning, the rest of your afternoon, the rest of your evening, the rest of your day. And be the change that you want to see, and show that you can change other people by loving them. So long.